The Crusades, a word echoing with the clash of swords, the cries of warriors, the fervor of faith and the weight of history, all intertwined in a complex tapestry. Spanning roughly from the 11th to the 13th centuries, these campaigns were launched by Catholic Europe, driven by a complex interplay of religious zeal, political ambition, and economic opportunity. The Crusades were not just wars, they were a movement that reshaped the medieval world. At their heart lay the control of Jerusalem, the Holy Land, considered sacred by Christians, Muslims, and Jews alike. This city was more than just a strategic location. It was a symbol of divine promise and spiritual significance. In 1095, Pope Urban II issued a call that would reverberate through the ages, a call for Christendom to take up arms and reclaim Jerusalem from Muslim rule. His words were a rallying cry that transcended borders and social classes. His plea, infused with religious fervor, ignited a wave of religious enthusiasm across Europe. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Peasants, knights, and nobles alike heeded the call, driven by the promise of spiritual salvation and, for some, the allure of wealth and land in the East. The Crusades offered a chance for adventure and a new beginning. The First Crusade, launched in response to Urban's plea, stands as a stark example of the power of faith to mobilize and motivate. It was a testament to the unifying force of a common cause. Driven by fervent belief and fueled by the hardships of medieval life, thousands embarked on a perilous journey east, their sights set on the Holy City. The journey was fraught with danger, but their determination was unwavering. This first wave of Crusaders, a diverse and often unruly group, would ultimately succeed in capturing Jerusalem in 1099, marking a turning point in the history of the Crusades and the world. Their victory was both a triumph and a tragedy, setting the stage for centuries of conflict and cultural exchange. The capture of Jerusalem in 1099 was a pivotal moment in the Crusades, a victory achieved through brutal siege warfare that showcased the determination and ferocity of the Crusader forces. This conquest left a lasting mark on Christian-Muslim relations, setting the stage for centuries of tension and conflict. The Crusaders, driven by intense religious fervor and a desire to reclaim the Holy Land, unleashed a horrific massacre within the city's walls, targeting Muslims and Jews alike in a brutal display of violence that would color perceptions of the Crusades for centuries to come. This initial victory, however, proved short-lived as the Crusaders faced numerous challenges in maintaining their hold on the region. The establishment of Crusader states in the Levant, while initially successful, proved precarious and fraught with difficulties. Muslim forces, initially fragmented and disorganized, gradually united to oppose the Crusader presence, leading to a series of fierce battles. The fall of the county of Edessa in 1144 sent shockwaves through Christendom and spurred the launch of the Second Crusade, a campaign that ultimately failed to achieve its ambitious objectives. Despite these setbacks, the Crusader presence in the Holy Land persisted for nearly 2 centuries, marked by periods of both relative peace and intense conflict, as both sides vied for control. The ebb and flow of warfare saw the rise of iconic figures on both sides, from Saladin, the revered Muslim leader who recaptured Jerusalem in 1187, to other notable leaders. Richard the Lionheart, the English king whose military prowess and strategic acumen earned him respect and fear in equal measure, became one of the most legendary figures of the Crusades. The Crusades' impact on religious relations between Christians and Muslims was profound and lasting. While relations between these faiths were complex and varied prior to the Crusades, the campaigns undeniably exacerbated existing tensions and fostered an atmosphere of suspicion and hostility that would linger for centuries. The Crusades, framed as a holy war to reclaim sacred land, solidified a narrative of religious conflict, shaping perceptions of the other and contributing to a legacy of mistrust. In Europe, the Crusades fueled a wave of anti-Semitism. Jews, often viewed with suspicion and prejudice, were targeted as scapegoats for the perceived failures of the Crusades. The association of Jews with the enemies of Christendom led to persecution, expulsion, and violence, leaving a dark stain on European history. The Crusades also played a role in hardening religious identities. In the face of a common enemy, both Christianity and Islam underwent periods of internal consolidation, strengthening their respective doctrines and worldviews. This strengthening of religious identity, while driven by external conflict, also contributed to a sense of cultural distinctiveness that would shape the development of both faiths in the centuries to come. Section 4. Shifting Sands of Power, Political Transformations. The Crusades were not solely driven by religious zeal, they also played a significant role in reshaping the political landscape of both Europe and the Middle East. These military campaigns had far-reaching consequences that extended beyond the battlefield. In Europe, the Crusades bolstered the authority of the papacy, showcasing its ability to mobilize armies and influence the actions of kings and emperors. The Pope's call to arms demonstrated the Church's power to unite various factions under a common cause. The papacy's increased influence, however, also led to conflicts with secular rulers, as seen in the investiture controversy, a power struggle between the papacy and the Holy Roman Empire. This struggle highlighted the tension between religious and political authorities. The Crusades also contributed to the rise of powerful Italian city-states, particularly Venice and Genoa. These cities capitalized on the opportunities presented by the Crusades to expand their influence and control over trade routes. These maritime powers, strategically positioned in the Mediterranean, profited immensely from transporting crusaders and goods to the east. Their fleets became essential for the movement of armies and supplies, cementing their status as key players in the region. The wealth accumulated during this period fueled their economic and political dominance, transforming them into major players on the European stage. The prosperity of these city-states laid the groundwork for the Renaissance. In the Middle East, the Crusades led to the weakening of the Byzantine Empire. The constant warfare and shifting alliances drained the empire's resources and undermined its stability. The Fourth Crusade, a disastrous deviation from its original purpose, culminated in the sacking of Constantinople in 1204, a devastating blow from which the Byzantine Empire never fully recovered. This event marked a turning point in the region's history. This weakening of Byzantium created a power vacuum that would eventually be filled by the rising Ottoman Empire, which would go on to conquer Constantinople in 1453. The fall of Constantinople marked the end of the Byzantine Empire and the beginning of a new era in the region. In the end, the cultural exchange during the Crusades was neither wholly beneficial nor entirely detrimental. It was a period marked by both enrichment and suffering, advancement and conflict. Understanding this complexity allows us to appreciate the nuanced history of this transformative era. Section 5. The Flow of Knowledge, Cultural Exchange. Amidst the bloodshed and conflict, the Crusades also facilitated a period of intense cultural exchange between East and West. For centuries, Europe had lagged behind the Islamic world in areas of scholarship, science, and medicine. The Crusades, while driven by conquest, inadvertently opened a window to this lost knowledge, leading to a rediscovery of classical texts and an influx of new ideas. European scholars, exposed to the intellectual riches of the Islamic world, began translating Arabic texts on mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. This influx of knowledge played a crucial role in the European Renaissance, sparking a revival of learning and laying the foundation for future scientific advancements. Universities, emerging as centers of learning in Europe, benefited greatly from this exchange, incorporating newly translated texts into their curricula. The Crusades also exposed Europeans to new goods and technologies. From the East came spices, silks, and luxurious fabrics, transforming European tastes and fueling a demand for Eastern goods. Advances in shipbuilding, navigation, and military technology also flowed westward, contributing to Europe's growing maritime power and military capabilities. Section 6 East meets West economic impacts. The Crusades had a profound impact on the economic landscape of both Europe and the Middle East. The establishment of Crusader states in the Levant, though ultimately short-lived, opened up new trade routes and spurred economic growth. European merchants seeking access to Eastern markets established trading posts in Crusader-controlled territories, facilitating the flow of goods between East and West. The increased demand for Eastern luxury goods such as spices, silks, and perfumes stimulated trade and enriched Italian city-states like Venice and Genoa. These maritime powers, acting as intermediaries between East and West, amassed considerable wealth, further solidifying their economic and political dominance in the Mediterranean. The Crusades also led to changes in European agriculture and finance. The need to equip and supply armies for distant campaigns spurred the development of new financial instruments such as letters of credit, which facilitated trade and reduced the risks associated with transporting large sums of money. The Crusades also led to increased agricultural production in Europe to meet the demands of a growing population and armies bound for the East. Section 7. Beyond the Battlefield, the Crusades Legacy. The Crusades, though concluding in the 13th century, cast a long shadow over history, shaping the relationship between East and West for centuries to come. The campaigns, often romanticized in Western literature and art, left a complex and contested legacy, viewed by some as a heroic defense of Christendom, and by others as a brutal exercise in religious intolerance and colonialism. The Crusades, despite their religious motivations, ultimately failed to achieve their primary objective of maintaining long-term Christian control over the Holy Land. The campaigns, however, left an indelible mark on the world, transforming religious relations, reshaping political boundaries, and sparking cultural and economic exchange. The Crusades serve as a reminder of the power of faith to both unite and divide, to inspire acts of both great courage and horrific violence. They stand as a testament to the enduring human capacity for both cooperation and conflict, leaving behind a legacy that continues to be debated and analyzed by historians and scholars to this day.